Hey folks, welcome back to Maypole Farm. Now, I did say you would see me in March, and it's not. You will see it's still December, but that's because there's kind of stuff to do, and I thought it would be easier to do this video as a live commentary, probably jumping through December, maybe January. We'll see. First thing, I've added in some mods, so let's have a chat about those. The first one is crop rotation planner, and I've just sat and planned out a crop rotation. This might change, but this is my starter for 10, I guess. So the first one is going to be what I'm calling our silage rotation, and this is going to be for fields 18 and 15. So this is not the one for the BGA. This is the one to feed the animals. I've not done the maths / testing yet for the one to feed the BGA. And this is essentially what I was running on Kenlag. If you haven't watched the refocusing video, go watch that. I'm probably going to be dropping the Kenlag videos so we can reuse that here because I'm doing too much, doing far too much. And so we're going to be focusing from a farm sim point of view on Maypole, and I'm going to be bringing back some tutorials. So, but go watch that video. That'll explain what the schedule is going to look like. So we're going to be doing corn, grass cover crop, into soybeans, back into grass cover crop, into corn. Now you can do corn, grass, corn, grass. Let me just show you that. And that was just fine. I'm doing this from to quote Kartek, nod to realism. So let's find grass. So you can just do this and you'll get a 15% bonus on your corn silage and you'll get 100% of your grass doing that. That'll work just fine. I'm not going to do that because we're running red tape, and it won't affect red tape, but it feels to me like just doing that is too intensive a form of farming. So we're going to be doing this approach. I'm going to swath the soybeans so we get a bit more yield out of them. Because I'm running the straw, extra straw crops, we'll also get straw from the soybeans. It's kind of a bonus. Then what I've called the others rotation. Currently we only have field 16. I'm planning to buy field 11. It's only £76,000. It's a similar size, 1.25. It's a little bit smaller. And on that, we're going to run essentially a 3-crop rotation of barley into wheat. The barley is a little bit low. Yep. I wonder if we did oats. That's better. You get less with oats, but a higher yielding oat crop might be better. So let's go oats. Does that work from a planting point of view? Plant in spring, harvest in there. Yeah, I think that works. So we'll go oats. It's probably better actually. Because from corn, we could then, it's going to let me know. Oats. Can I add? I think only they should do 4. I think. I'm just going to see if I can test this. I think we could go corn into oats as grass. So if I did grass, corn, oats. So we're just missing out part of it. Wheat. Yeah, that works. Actually, it would be grass, corn, grass. Sorry, if this is a bit slow. I only just installed the mod on here, and I'm just trying to work out how I'm going to do things. Yeah. That's a little bit lower, actually. So let's not do that. get rid of... Yeah. So we'll leave it at that, actually. Let's not overcomplicate things. Yes, what if we add catch crop? Yeah. So I assume that means we're preceding it with OSR, which is a big boost. So after the corn, we put OSR in, and that gives us a big boost on yield. I assume that's how that works. So let's do that. Let's do that. So oats into wheat. And we could probably do the same there, potentially. Because we harvest the oats in August. We plant the wheat in September. That works. Once we harvest the wheat, we put grass in. So we plant the wheat in September. Yep. We then harvest it the following summer, put grass in. Then the next time we put corn in. Catch crop in before the oats after that. Yep, I think that works. So that's our crop rotation. So where we are at the moment is not a perfect start because we're going into... We'll be putting oats in here, or we could put corn in here. So we'd be here at the moment. So we're going to corn for field 16. And then I think we put soybeans in here, corn. So soybeans in field 18, corn in field 15. We need to buy field 11, and let's go see what this had in it already. So it had soybeans in it. So I'm not sure what that means, but we'll maybe start the rotation. So we'll put oats in there. So that's that. Wow, I spent 7 minutes waffling about that. But I did in dynamic drive, which is going to affect, supposedly make the vehicle handling more realistic. I've added in the calculator because I use calculator a lot, and I figured it would be better for you guys to see it when I'm using it. I've added moisture in now. Moisture mod is available. I didn't realize it was available. I'm so out of touch because things have been really busy. Add in variable tire pressures. I'm going to do a video on how you add that to mod vehicles. None of my vehicles have it at the moment, but I'm going to add that in. It's a very cool mod from having a bit of a play with it. I've added in some modded vehicles. So we've got the John Deere that I plan to purchase, which is probably this guy. Which I'm going to be adding variable tire pressure to so that we can make use of that. This is another option, which is slightly cheaper and might actually be what we go for. Because probably there's enough power there for what we're doing on the farm. And it's a bit cheaper. But we'll see. We'll see. So that's that. The other tractor that I've added in is this guy. Yep. So, and one of the reasons that I'm tempted by this guy is I need a 240 horsepower tractor. Now, we could put a weight on the front because this is going to be a feeder tractor. But equally, we could put a 3-point on the front, which would make it more useful. That's 120 grand tractor. Now, other things that I was looking at, which get us in the same ballpark. This is only 111,000, quite 112,000. This is from the Highland DLC. This has the option built in for variable tire pressure because the mod adds it to a lot of the stock vehicles. And these 280 horsepower. It's a big tractor for not a lot of money, which I kind of like. So there's that. The reason that I'm interested in this, I'm just going to double check the sales. To check, nothing has. What are you? You go to 225, which might be enough for 60 grand. 67 grand because it's only a feeder tractor. No, you're not a feeder tractor. You could be a feeder tractor. You'd be a heck of a feeder tractor of 140 grand. So the reason we're looking for a feeder tractor, I'm fed up of filling the feed wagon. So we can get 18 grand for the feed wagon, which is pretty good. The feed wagon I want to get is significantly bigger. Just checking the mods that I've got installed. But it's a base game one. I think this is going to be huge. It's going to be freaking huge. Probably unrealistically so for the farm. But I'm doing like 4 loads a day and I'm fed up of it. So I'm thinking of spending the 85 grand on this. But it needs 240 horsepower. So we need a 240 horsepower tractor because we don't have one. So after 10 minutes of rambling, what we're going to do is go into the BGA because we have a decent amount of electric charge and methane. I'm going to keep the digestate. So we're going to use the sell just electric charge. We're going to activate this. We're going to change it to selling. We're going to activate this. We're going to change it to selling. I had to go check the video to make sure I knew how to use all of these things. We're going to speed up the time to go past the hour mark, and that should sell all of that. See how much cash we've got. See if we can do that. I still want to get the John Deere, but I'm thinking we get a cheaper tractor to act as the feeder tractor with the new mixing wagon. Just because it's going to make my life much easier. 192 grand. Nice. So we can now stop you and stop you. So is the feed mixer empty? It is. Do we have milk? We have 12 grand's worth of milk. Can we borrow money? Because we're making decent money now. Take loan. We can. So I think what we're going to do is I was hoping it was going to crop up in the sales, but it hasn't. So now the question is, do I buy the used 8R with 320 horsepower? I think that's just going to be excessive and big. 225 is probably enough to run the mixer wagon, I think. We don't need the 50k gearbox because we're just going to be going around the farm. We probably do want the front hydraulics, so it's going to be like 60 grand. So I think 225 is going to be enough to run that. But I'm going to do a save just in case it's not. But essentially, we're going to have a demo of this tractor. So what we're going to suggest to the dealer is they let us hook it up and test it on the mixer wagon, because we're spending a lot of money. And we're going to be spending a lot more money with them, so I think this is fine. Yeah, I don't think we need the faster gearbox, because I'm not planning to use this for much more extra lights. Yes, because it's going to be in the farm. Front hydraulic, just because I think that makes sense. I will sort the license plate out later because I don't have my list handy. So that's 60 grand. So let's buy that. Yes, please. We're not going to finance it. We are going to sell this guy. I know I could make more money if I was more fussy about how I sold it, but I can't be bothered. And then 24. Yeah, we're just going to buy the big one. I'm going to make it the biggest possible. This is not going to have a number plate because it's not leaving the farm. I think this is going to be ridiculously big. But actually, it's not as bad as I thought. I don't know if we're going to need a front weight on this. Actually, with all the axles that's got, we might be okay. Yep, we are okay. Now, yeah, I think we're good. Awesome. Because I am fed up of doing 4 loads a day. So that's why we've done that. Now, the other job that I wanted to do, having said that this is just going to be a mixer tractor, is, and I'm going to put this actually out of the way because it's going to be right in the way there. So let's back that in beside the straw bales. I want to get those silage bales picked up. So let's lease this guy whilst you're here. And we'll do that, and we'll use the new tractor. It's only got 12 hours on it, which is not too bad, actually. It's not too bad. So, yeah, I've been having a bit of a play with... So, basically, I was going through Mod Hub, looking at new mods. So I wanted to install the crop rotation mod. I was looking for the calculator mod, and I spotted the variable tire pressure mod. Spotted that moisture system had been released because I hadn't realised it had. And I've got access. It's Sunday. I'm recording this on Sunday. I've got access to the DLC at the moment. I've not even downloaded it because busy, folks. You know, I have been busy. I'm not quite so busy now, but and I watched Farmer Cop's video on it, and I'm not super excited, to be honest. So I was going to do a video on it over the weekend, but having watched that video, I'm not enthused. By the time you guys see this, it'll probably be released. But yeah. So anyway, if you aren't going to go watch the refocusing video, here's a quick what does it mean for Farm Sim. So we're going to be doing, well, I'm going to be doing, not we, 2 videos a week on Maypole Farm, which is probably about or more than you've been getting lately anyway. And the aim is to do a core at the moment of 5 videos a week, the other 3 being the Beaver game. If you liked the other, if you liked Schedule 1, if you're one of the few that liked Project Motor Racing, well, sorry, but I can't do everything anymore. And based on what people enjoy, I need to focus on that, and I need to be more sensible about what I try and do. Trying to make 10 plus videos a week wasn't working, so we're aiming for 5 as a core, and then on top of that there's a couple of slots a week which will be as I can, as I want to, with a focus on farm sim tutorials and maybe some other bonus videos on different things. I have the first farm sim tutorial in the works. I had originally planned not to do one for a few weeks, but having installed some new mods, I was enthused, and I'm probably going to record that tomorrow evening, depending on how the day at work goes. So yeah, we'll see. But having played around with some new mods and stuff, I have got the bug again, so that's what we're going to do. Now, I'm doing a few things that are a bit different. One, I'm being driven by data, which kind of makes sense for me, you know, I'm analytical, but I've never really done that here. I've always gone with the, well, this is just a hobby, I should just do what I want to do thing. And that's been okay, obviously, but there's been some definite trends in some of the data which suggest that's not the best thing ever for growth of a YouTube channel. And that's not entirely why I do this, obviously. I'm not chasing algorithms and all that, and I'm still not doing that. But I'm also trying to do what I think is right for me rather than people please. And what do I mean by that? Well, there were some people that enjoyed Schedule 1 videos and Project Motor Racing videos, and that little bit of dopamine that I got from making them happy, actually that made me happy too, so I'm not necessarily just people pleasing, but I found it really hard to cut content from the channel. I have spoken to some of you about wanting me to reduce the number of videos that I make, but struggling to do that. And yeah, I had a pretty brutal exchange with ChatGPT based on the data that I collected from the survey that I did. I have embraced what it told me to do. Well, I haven't really, because it told me to only make 4 videos in the first week, and I'm currently looking at making 6. So yeah, anyway, let's ignore that. It's only because I've had a good idea for a tutorial. And anyway, let's ignore that and let's focus on we're focusing on not making videos on all of the games. Which is hard, I've got to admit, but I think we'll be better. You know, it's like normally I will have very little time for each individual video, whereas today I've got much more time to put this video together. I've spent 20 odd minutes just rambling away so far, and there's a lot more I want to try and get done in this video. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. So we're probably going to cut in a moment, and I'm going to just keep playing, and then we'll come back when we've achieved some more. rather than me going, right, well, that's all I've got time for now today, and you get a 20-minute video, and yeah. So I'm hoping it's going to result in better quality, not just less quantity. That's my hope. So that's those stored away. So let's return that guy. Yes, yes. And on that note, I am going to carry on, and we'll come back when there is something more to do. Folks, it is January, and we've got some stuff come up. So let's have a look, shall we? Mostly, well, by stuff, I mean red tape has thrown up a bunch of messages. So let's go have a look, shall we, at where we are. So we're still in tier D. Everything is green, which is good. We're not doing any forestry at the moment, so we could maybe pick that up. But anyway, animal conditions is good. Bedding is good. We're back on good terms with our... actually, the slurry application was fine. We're back on good terms with our slurry management. Manure... we're still storing more than we're allowed to store, but we've got a couple of months before they're actually going to do anything in terms of reporting. Crop rotation, we're good. Animal space, we're good. Animal feed, that we're good. We had some new schemes come up, though, so natural grazing, we're not going to be doing. Reduced bale wrapping. We could, but I'm not sure. Set aside encourages setting aside a portion of your farmland, providing rest from constant work. You will receive bonus for the land left clear of crops for at least 9 months leading up to December. Over 3 qualifying hectares, all crops sold in the following tax year will 5% tax rate. No, do not cut your grass during spring months, March to June. July, you will be compensated for any uncut grass. I think we're going to struggle with that. And then crop promotion, a government initiative to promote parsnips through fact you were provided with equipment for the duration of the initiative and receive a financial bonus for each field you plant with the crop. So we get that horrid harvester. No, thank you, sir. Expenses, taxable income, tax due, 0. So we are running at a loss. Awesome. Rotation is fine. Grants, we haven't applied for any yet. Okay. How is the BGA looking? We are still working our way through stuff. We actually need to take more manure up to the farm. So, we also need to feed the... Start the engine. So, I need to feed the cows. I'm tempted to run up there in the John Deere because it's our new toy. So, let's go grab the trailer. We'll move some more manure. Get that going again because it's going to have stopped. That's bad planning on my part. I fed the cows with the new feed mixer in the previous game day. It was awesome. And I'm then thinking that we can probably chuck some slurry or digestate on stuff because we are out of the ban. So there's actually things we can do now in this game month, which is kind of cool. We need to repair this guy as well. There's also milk to be sold, so we actually have things to do. The other mod that I didn't add that I want to add is the AI workers mod. That's not... I can't remember the exact name, but basically there's a mod now which adds essentially an AI farm to the map, and they will do contracts, which I think is awesome. Don't know if any of you have used it yet. I don't know what the performance impact is, but it looks like from reading the description, essentially AI workers will pick up contracts and do them. So I assume they use the kit from the contracts. The other thing that we need to do, I think, is sell the red beets. I kept saying they were carrots, but they are in fact beetroot, and we are in fact at the best price, and the animal dealer has a decent price for those. So I've got that trailer loaded up ready, so had forgotten about that. So actually this is going to be an interesting test, because we've got the new dynamic driving thing installed, and we're going to have a heavy trailer. So I'll get this loaded up and I'll see you all in a moment. This is going to be a fun test, I think. Now, towing this fully loaded trailer with the Steyr was interesting. I'm going to go with interesting. So it should be equally interesting. Hopefully not actually with, obviously, well, I think the John Deere is bigger. Doing it in this menu because I think it'll tell us more information more easily. So we've got this guy is 7 tons, whereas the Steyr actually is 6.8. So maybe not actually. Maybe not. I thought this was going to be quite a bit heavier, but because it's kind of mass pulls mass and all that. It's a quote from a strongman, but I think it's relevant. And more so, mass resists mass pushing it. So we might be better putting a weight on here, but hey, screw it. Let's go. Let's just find out, shall we? FAFO and all that, except we're not FAFing, so we'll FO anyway. Yes, I know young speak. That's not really young speak, is it? Anyway, what's it like in the cab? It's nicer in the cab than the Steyr is. It's got a better in-cab view. So yeah, I'm going to add the variable tire pressure mod to this tractor because it feels like a good idea. So the cool thing about that mod is, I don't know if you've watched, Farm Sim Guy has a video on it. Have looked to see how many people have videos on it, which might give you some hints as to upcoming videos. And having played with it, it's not if you're using it, you might realize it's not just a visual mod. It does actually affect how much grip the tires have. Now, I don't think we're necessarily struggling for grip here, but yeah, it's a very cool mod. So it does visually change how the tires look, but it also improves their grip. And it is relatively easy to add to vehicles, as long as you're okay with XML. So, and it's really cool. It adds like a nice little HUD and stuff. So yeah, that's going to be the first tutorial that I've done in a while. It's how to add variable tire pressure to tractors that the mod doesn't add it to, which is essentially the base game stuff and DLC stuff, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, it appears we are going to become a John Deere farm, apart from the Merlot, because they do still want to get the 6R to replace the Steyr. It's going to be a replacement of the Steyr now. That's going to give us a nice suite of tractors to get stuff done. So we'll dump that. Whilst we're here, we'll also get a load of sugar beet, because that'll let us process a bit more stuff. We'll go sell the red beets as well. That'll be good. Let's tab to that, switch that on. Start that loading. Come on. Start that loading. There we go. So I'll get this done. I'll get the red beets down to the sell point, and I'll see you all there. Okay, we are nearly at the sell point. Maybe not the most optimal route, but it has reminded me of another mod that I need to install, which is one that removes AI traffic collisions, which someone pointed out to me, which, yes, if we're using auto drive, that would be very useful. Let's see how much we're going to get for our red beets. I'm not sure how much that was. I think about 10 grand, something like that. So sold products, I think we get back the money from the boxes, maybe. Those ridiculously expensive boxes. So that's cool. So that was a bit of an investment, I guess, and then maybe like 5 grand from the crops by the looks of it. I think a lot of that was just selling back those boxes from the crops. Yeah, wow. Anyway, and that was mostly about clearing that field. So, yeah. Now, a point where variable tire pressure would have been useful was pulling that trailer out of the farm, because coming up this hill, we were struggling for traction. So, yeah, it would have been quite useful to have had that active on the tractor at this point. But I didn't, so we just kind of slogged our way out. So what I want to do with probably the rest of this video is feed the cows, because you might as well have a play with the new feeder. Now, I have had a play with the new feeder, but you guys haven't seen it in action, and it's kind of nice. And we're going to sell the milk, which means I'll have then space to put this trailer back. So I did a bit of cleaning of, that's not what I meant. Did a bit of cleaning of things while you guys were away as well, but not this truck. But did clean the Merlot and the Steyr, because they were pretty scabby. So there we go. So let's load a decent haul of milk. So I think we maybe do that in a few chunks. But yeah, would you believe I checked the sales afterwards, and there is now a Deutz from the Highland DLC on sale. It's quite expensive still, so wouldn't have been an alternative option to this guy. But yeah, but how many times can he say but in one sentence? I want to run some different tractors on here to what we've run in a while. And like John Deere is a brand that I like, but I haven't. It feels like I haven't used it in a while. So that's what we're going to be running for a bit as we approach episode 50. So this is episode 49, I think, which is pretty crazy. I don't know how far we got on this long series. Something that I find nuts. So one of my most viewed videos every month is the first episode of that series for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know what YouTube is doing, but yeah, that video still gets a lot of views. The rest of the series does not. But that video does. I was looking at analytics before I was going to put some analytics in the refocusing video. I didn't in the end, because it doesn't change the price of how many whatevers. I was going to try and say something clever then, but anyway, yeah, it doesn't really change what I'm doing, so I didn't bother. But yeah, I was looking at like how videos perform, and that video for some reason is still getting a ton of views every month. But as I'm just kind of thinking what I want to do with the series, and because I'm still with how we've changed this, with you just pull out, sir, with the kind of realization of what was wrong with for me, what was wrong with FarmSim. I don't feel the need to change. Now, that's not a shock for anyone, is it? Because we don't like change here. As in, interesting. One of you commented that we're essentially playing the same series that I played in FS22. It's a map that I've played 3 times now. But I feel like with red tape, I've got moisture system installed. So we're going to have to be cognizant of that come grasswork season. Got crop rotation now. I've got the custom feeding on here. The game's just more interesting. You know, and yes, I'm at a point where I'm making more money, but equally I'm having to work harder to do things the right way. You know, it's like we needed the BGA to process all the animal app. Now I could have just gone and sold them. Jesus, someone outside is being incredibly noisy. I could have just sold them, but that didn't feel efficient. You know, and I want to be efficient, so yeah. Now, in terms of like red tape, I do want to start doing a bit of forestry. And we might experiment with, it's not there's no we here. Well, there is, because you guys are watching, but you know what I mean. I hate the YouTube we. I might experiment with a bit of agroforestry. But I think we might set aside a separate field for that. Because I've never done it before. Now there is, Farm Sim Tim has a mod for it, I think, in FS25. But I'm probably not going to use that. I'm probably just going to wing it. And so I might do that as a separate experiment on another field. But what I might do is, because there are limitations with red tape as to how many trees you can plant and gain benefit from every month, what I might do is set the field up and then slowly plant the trees to min-max the benefit we can get from it. But, you know, it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. So, yeah, I mean, in the end, this video has turned into me just doing farm winter jobs. But I didn't want to do... I was trying to think of a good way to do these kind of major changes. And I could have grabbed the footage and then done commentary over them. But it felt like this felt like a better way to do it. There was some things to chat about. So, yeah. So we'll do a load of TMR, and I think probably what I'll do is, for the next video, come back in February, depending on what the weather in game is like. What are we looking at for a forecast in February? Snow, maybe not. We might come back in March. So what I was going to say is that we'll come back and we'll do some slurry spreading. If there's heavy snow on the ground, we're not going to be doing that. We might be waiting until March. Or you might see me back in January to do that before the snow hits. Let's get back and do some planning. Or let's have a major head-on collision at high speed. Because we're both driving foreign vehicles. That's what it is. That'll be a contributing factor on the old insurance claims, I'm sure. And he was talking into a microphone whilst he was driving. He's got no hope. He's got no hope. Anyway, yeah, we'll get back to the farm and we'll have a bit of a think about actually what the weather suggests we should do and the order of operations. Because we need to think about that. Because we can now spread slurry. So, and I realised we could always spread manure, so maybe I should have been doing that in December. But anyway, because the ban is just on slurry, I think. Let's chuck this guy in. The other thing I need to do is actually buy the manure spreader, because at the moment it's just leased. Okay, let's back that in there. That'll do. So that's not what we wanted to do. Yeah, so actually we've got snow coming in from this afternoon through until March. So we're probably not going to be doing that. So let's just mix some feed up, and I will then probably see you when the weather improves. Feed mixing with this is so much better. So much better. So we park up here. This is the feed mixing spot, if you weren't aware. There is only 33,000 litres of silage in there, assuming we can get it all out. So we are getting very low on silage. Do you have bales of... Actually, let's check with time-saving stock check. We actually have nearly 300,000 litres of silage with all the bales, so that is fine. But we can take an entire scoop of root crops now, which is nice. Dump that in. There we go. Come on. We then grab the bale spike, because we can do... So the last mix I did, going forwards, I hate that expression. Very work expression. Going forwards, we will be optimizing our... Well, we are actually. But there is some optimizing going on. So we're going to be putting some straw in the feed. We can put up to 12,000 litres of straw in with how I have the mix set up. So the last time I put 7,000 in, because that's how big the bale was. This time we're going to put 9,000 in, because that's how big the bale is. So, yeah, it reduces the nutritional quality a little bit in real world terms, but in farm sim terms it has zero effect. But I'm going to do 2 bales of hay. And I have been just clearing out the smaller stacks so far. So let's do that. Grab those. Put those in, and then I haven't been doing mineral feed lately. Tis what it is. It's mostly down to the fact that I haven't got around to buying more. That offends you deeply. Well, deal with it, folks. It's a video game. The virtual cows will be just fine. Right. And then we just throw in the rest as silage, which is going to be like 4 buckets full. and we'll be done. Well, I say we'll be done. We won't be done. But we'll be done for today. And depending on how the weather goes in game, you might then see me in March. And given that we need to turn around a bunch of fields, the fact that it says it's going to be raining, we have moisture system installed, is not great. Because making silage in the rain is possible, but not optimal. So I do need to refresh myself on how moisture system works, because I haven't looked at it in a while. In what feels like a very long time, actually, but you know, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. By like Monday, I think, is the next farm sim video. So the next farm sim let's play video. There is no Saturday, sorry. There is likely to be a video on Thursday as well, assuming things go to plan. Right, so we've got room for about 2,800 litres. So let's grab that. Almost perfect. And yeah, that doesn't look like 18,000 litres to me. But yeah, it's so much easier to do one big load than all these little loads I was doing. And again, it's going to be easier when we're doing bales for everything as well, which we are not far from. So there we go. And we do that, and we do that because I want to use that as a thumbnail, because I think it looks kind of cool. Awesome. Yeah, I know. Still haven't stopped doing that halfway through a video. Deal with it, folks. So I'm going to have to do another mix by the looks of it, because they've taken quite a lot. But anyway, that is going to be it for today. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. If you are interested in any of that, there are links down below. Patreon gets early access to the videos. Usually the day before I will upload the video to Patreon, and that is ad-free as well. If you don't have YouTube Premium and get the YouTube videos ad-free, which is a sensible thing to do. That's how I consume YouTube, because I hate ads. Ad blocker is bad because it means creators don't get revenue. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time.